Hey guys, and welcome back to a new video. This video is the second episode of the Kotlin Flow playlist. In the last video, we had a short introduction about the Kotlin Flow, and with a simple example, I showed you how and why we should use Kotlin Flow. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the data stream and again about the reactive programming and the flow itself and the relation between these items. And we will have a short example as well, and that's it. Let's get started. In the previous part, we talked about what reactive programming is and why it's important for app development. We learned that Kotlin Flow helps us manage data streams, allowing us to respond to changes in data right away. And in this video, I'm going to talk more about data streams and reactive programming. When we are talking about Kotlin Flow, we know that it points to asynchronous data stream. And when we are talking about the data stream, we should remember that it has three parts, three entities: data source, data handler, and observer. As you see in the picture, data source is like a factory that produces data for us. But in the world of Android app development, we can consider it as a repository in the MVVM pattern that interacts with the data source, with the remote databases, and manages the network calls. And the data handler is like a truck, like a pipe that produces the data that delivers data from the data source to the observer. And it can be like the view model in the MVVM pattern. Always is not like this, that it only delivers the data for us from data source to observer, and it can also manipulate the data and add something to it or do some processes on it, and the final data will be given to the observer. Let's go to the Android Studio, and I'm going to show you what do I mean. This is the project that in the last episode we worked on it. And in the view model, we were receiving a flow of numbers from 0 to 10 produced by the repository every 1 second. And now I'm going to show you the view model is not only playing the delivery rule in our pattern, but also can manipulate the data just by adding here a map and it multiplied to it. And now when I'm running the application, you can see that it multiplies the produced number to itself and shows us the result on the screen. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see that the result will be displayed here. So the view model and the data handler can do changes in the data as well. Now let's go back to our slides. Okay, the last entity that we have in the data stream is the observer that can be the view in the MVVM pattern, and displays the data in the UI and interacts with the user directly. As the arrow shows, always the stream of data starts from the data source, comes to the data handler, and goes to the observer. Why? Because the flow is following the reactive approach and observer pattern. Now let's check what is reactive programming in more detail. Generally, we have two different types of programming: imperative and reactive. This one shows the imperative diagram, and this one shows the reactive diagram. First, let's see what is imperative programming. It is opposite of reactive programming. In imperative programming, developers explicitly define the steps that the program must take to achieve a specific goal. The style focuses on how to perform tasks and often involves direct manipulation of state and control flow, typically using loops and conditional statements. In contrast, the reactive programming emphasizes responding to changes in data and events, often allowing the system to handle asynchronous operations and data flows more naturally. In imperative programming, everything starts from the view. It can be a click by the user. Then the view model requests the data to the data layer. And the data layer creates a request and passes it to the data source. Then, if there is a data in the data source, we will receive it in the data layer, and it will be given to the view model. And finally, it will be displayed in the view. If there is a change here, but there is no start point here, the user doesn't click on anything, the change will not be displayed in the view as long as the user is not clicking on anything. Then again, after user clicks, we will receive the fresh data and it will be displayed finally on the view. But in the reactive programming is not like this. View observes the view model, and view model observes the data layer, and data layer observes the source. And any changes that happens here will be delivered soon to the view by using the flow. And even if we have multiple data sources, by using flow, we can follow this pattern. And as we know, as I said, the flow follows the reactive approach and observer pattern. So the data will be given to the repository, and repository will send it to the observer. Okay guys, how was the second episode of the Kotlin Flow playlist? Did you like it? If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new in the channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be aware about the new videos. In case of any financial help, you can hit the thanks button, or down below in the description you can find the link, and through that buy me a coffee. And I will be so happy about that. And also, if you have any question, please write them down below in the comment box, and I'm going to answer them as soon as possible. Till the next video, happy coding and see you in the next video. Bye bye.